Hey guys, Hook to Clash here, and today I'm going to present to you the ultimate TH14 farming guide from what base to run on defense, to what league you should be farming in and the pros and cons of each, and then to what army you should be using based on the league that you're in. Today I hope to just inform you all and answer every single question you could possibly have. Now, if I don't answer one of your questions, please comment your question down below and I try and get to absolutely every single comment. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so we're going to start with defense because obviously there's no point in farming all the loot in the world if you can't keep it. Now, this base I actually built. Don't worry, this is not copied at all. This is a base I built and it's been going okay for me so far. It's not like the best base in the world. I'm sure you could find some that are just as good, but I really like this one for a few reasons and we'll point it out here. So firstly, as you can see, we've got the town hall right here, and why I like this town hall position is it's not too close to the outside of the base, but it's also not too close to the core. Why does that matter? Obviously, you don't want your town hall too close to the core because then those people coming with like the E-drag attacks that we're seeing a lot at the moment, we'll talk about that later as well. The E-drag attacks or just like the big push armies can get your town hall and the core quite easily together. Whereas having the town hall offset obviously gives your attackers less options, but the important thing is you don't want the town hall too close to the edge because a lot of the armies we're seeing at the moment is just people that will just like either Yeti bomb the town hall and like leave, or they'll use sneaky gobs and wall breakers to take out your town hall if it's close to the edge. So you need to have your town hall central enough and protected enough, hence the wizard towers here to kill sneaky gobs really quickly. You need to have it protected enough that sneaky gobs can't just snipe it, but you also don't want it too protected such that someone with a mass army can overwhelm the base. Now the next sort of thing we see is storages. As well, I'm not going to put across on all of them, but you can see them all spread around the base. You know, none of them are too close to each other except these four here. Really are the closest ones, but they're all kind of in a ring around the base. You have to get to multiple compartments to get to all of them. Now, also, in my opinion, golden elixir storages don't matter too much at Town Hall 14 because obviously the most amount of farming you're going to be doing is for this right here, the dark elixir storage, the thing that you need in the core of your base. And if you don't have it in the core of your farming base, then switch to this one immediately. And what I've done with this one is I've tried to make it as hard to get to this DA storage from every angle possible. If you queen charge in here, you can't reach it. If you queen charge in here, you can't reach it. You can't reach it from here, here. And obviously this is a dead zone here. Now, if the Teslas pop, then obviously they can wall break there. But if someone's just come and looking at the base, as you can tell, there is a dead zone there, which makes it really hard to get the queen to go into there. And obviously the queen can't reach the dark elixir storage from either of this. Also annoying to path E-drags into it if you come this way. More likely they'll either go around like that or around like that. And I've also got the queen and the enemy RC just overlapping the dark elixir storage such that if any E-drag or miner or anything that doesn't target defenses or resource buildings will be pulled off the dark elixir storage, or at least that's the hope there. Now you're probably wondering, well, why do we have the CC so off-centered? It's just to make it as awkward as possible to get to that dark elixir storage, because obviously it is a little closer to the bottom side than the top side, but it also allows to have double multi-covering and all these bows down the bottom. If someone wants to come in from here, it's really awkward to do so. Now I'm going to quickly show you all a defensive replay that I actually think shows how much I like this base. And you're probably like, Hooked, he got 4.6k DE. That's not a good thing. This happened overnight. And as you can see, my DE collectors are quite full. Now, if there was one edit I would make to this base, it's figure out a better spot to get this DE drill, just because they're so easily snipeable. But given that in a few weeks, not everyone will have their resources boosted and therefore their DE drills won't be as full, I'm not too worried about that. It's just for the time being when if you go to sleep, you can wake up with like 1.4k DE in your collectors and people take most of that. Anyways, you see this guy's coming in with Sneaky Gobs, one of the most common army compositions, particularly in Crystal and Masters. You see it everywhere. And then people bring these jump spells as well to get to your storages. Now, this is kind of good to get to my gold storage here, because obviously this gold storage was designed to be as tough as possible to get to. with sneakies, because normally they'd have to either go around that wall or you'd wall break there. But this guy brought the jump, so smart play by him there. But look what he's going to try and do here. He's got the double jump. He's trying to get rid of this clan castle as first, which is another nice reason to have it sitting at the bottom of the base here. He's still trying his absolute best. Kudos to him. The resilience is strong in this one. But then look at that. He spams all of them, and they do actually target the Dark Elixir storage. And you're probably wondering, oh well, that's not a good thing. Hooked, you're about to lose all your DE. But look at this. They all appear just in time. Unless you bring a haste spell, they aren't making it in time. And also, we've got this tornado here, which activated, which would have started getting them after the first one activated it. And we keep all of our Dark Elixir. I think they got like one hit on it. We don't keep the Dark Elixir in the drills, but we do keep the Dark Elixir. That matters in the storage there. And we hang on to all of that loot that we've got there. I would run this base personally. If you've got a base that you like, don't make me change it. Don't change something that's working. Don't fix something that's not broken. But if you are looking for a base, this is absolutely one I would recommend. Now, there's probably a lot of you who are farming in Legends League and it's like, well, Hooked, can I run this base in Legends League? Will this get me some defenses? And it probably will get you a few defenses. But I'm actually going to give you all a bit of advice for Legends League. Now, if you're in Legends League and you're just trying to farm, you're not trying to get to the top of the leaderboards for the clout or anything, I'm going to give you an interesting suggestion that you probably didn't really think about. In Legends League, if you want to farm effectively, obviously the best way to do that is to get 8 triples in a day, because then you get all the loot off the base, plus full bonus, and the star bonus as well. But obviously, if you start getting 320 every day, you're going to move up the leaderboard. So in Legends, because you can't actually lose any loot on defense, I would actually recommend running a base that is as bad as you are good on offense. Essentially, you want to break even. The perfect place to farm in Legends League would be as low as possible in Legends League, because you run into weaker bases that you're more likely to triple. So if you're getting 320 on a day, run a progress base and lose 320 a day on defense. If you're getting 260 a day, then maybe run... I wouldn't say this base, this probably holds slightly better than 260, but if you're getting 260 a day in low Legends, run a base that's also going to concede 260 a day. If you're getting 180 a day, then run a base that's going to get 180 on defense a day. You all get it. Just my piece of advice. Now, if you are actually pushing up high in Legends, this base probably won't quite cut it for you, because we are prioritizing storages over defenses. But maybe give it a go, and if you do, let me know how it goes. Okay, so which league you decide to farm in is actually a huge choice. So I drafted this up for you all to hopefully make the decision making a little easier. So we'll start at the top. Let's start at Legends League, and the pros of it are quite obvious. You get great loot, you don't have to play the game a lot, and you don't take any defenses, you can't lose loot from those defenses. And I'll actually get this up for you all here to show how much loot you can make per attack. And it's actually quite nice at Town Hall 14, the amount of loot you can get in Legends League. If you include like the star bonus and the loot bonus with all of that, that will end up being a little over 6 mil gold and about just over 60k Dark Elixir, which is really nice. Honestly, a lot of loot to be made in a day. But obviously, that is the maximum amount of loot you can make in a day. You will never make exceedingly much more than that. So that's a big downside there. And obviously another downside is generally to get that loot, you have to use armies that triple bases, which are more expensive than the farming army counterparts. So I would say if you're not going to do more than like 12 or 15 attacks farming in like a non-Legends league, go to Legends. It's just a better spot to be. It's more fun as well, attacking like with armies that can triple, rather than using like Barch and Sneaky Gobs and Miners, which aren't as much fun in my opinion. Now, if you're going to farm in Legends League, as I said earlier in the video, I would recommend farming low in Legends. Now, let's get to Champions and Titans League here. I kind of group them up because they're kind of similar in concept. They are a little different though. There are noticeable differences. So the pros of both of them, you can get great to insane loot per attack. You can get more loot per attack than in Legends League. Honestly, the these two leagues have the most amount of 1 million plus loot bases in the entire game. So if you want to take advantage of them, then that's the spots to be. Another benefit is obviously it's close to Legends League, and a lot of you will be like, so what does that matter? Well, essentially, once you're done farming, you don't have to work as hard to get back up to Legends League. Whereas if you're farming in like a lower league, getting up to Legends does actually take a little bit of time. But the cons of this, yet again, you generally have to use expensive armies. I have seen some people use farming armies, but generally the expensive ones work better because you run into more bases with a lot in the storages as opposed to collector raids. Clouds, so annoying. They don't actually matter a whole lot unless you're in like the top Titans League. But like they're just more frustrating than anything. If you can deal with the frustration, then you'll be fine. But they just trigger me every single time. Loot can be quite inconsistent. Some of the time it's insane and better than any other league in the day, and some in the world, sorry. And some of the time you'll be searching for 10-15 minutes to find a base. And then obviously on defense you lose a bit of loot because people are trying to triple as well, and they can, unlike in Legends, take the loot off you. Now if I was going to farm in Champion or Titans League, I would farm in, I think it's Titans 3. Is about 41 to 4,300. I think I farmed a little bit there, and the loot's not too bad, honestly. That's just my recommendation. They're obviously up to you, should you choose to farm there. For Masters and Crystal League, this is where I farm. It's where I would recommend you all farming, but there is some severe cons to this. We'll go through the pros first, though. Highest number of dead bases in the game end up here. This is obviously because the dead bases don't sit in Champs or in Titans because they lose trophies when they're tripled by those expensive armies. Whereas in Masters and Crystals, you see a lot more farming armies used where they don't get even a 1-star. They're happy to lose trophies, which means those dead bases win as many as they lose, and they'll often hover in this area. Cheap armies are the go here, which is nice. They often train quicker as well, and they're often not as reliant on the heroes too to attack, whereas if you're like in Legends League, you need your heroes to attack and you have to wait for them to regenerate, whereas in Masters and Crystals it's not quite the same. The cons though, you need high activity to get the loot, for it to make a difference, essentially, to get the loot that you would be able to get in Legends. Sorry, that was a little bit of a tongue twister. And the other cons, which probably haven't thought of much, it's hard to get a shield. I actually a lot of the time get hit by sneaky gobs, and unless they get to 30%, you don't get a shield on defense, which means if you're particularly like your town hall, if it's not well protected, you could take like 20 defenses overnight with people just sniping your town hall and taking like 600 DE each time, which is obviously small in one raid, but if you get attacked that many times, it does stack up over time. Now, if I was to farm in Masters or Crystal League, I recommend Masters 2, but particularly Crystal 1, Masters 3, Masters 2 are all great places to be. Now, Bronze League, the pros of this, you're cool. Everyone is envious of your ability to play the game, and you're just, you're doing something that no one else is doing. You're the coolest player in your clan. The cons, lack of loot, you have to do lots of searching. It's hard to stay that low. If you jump off for 5 minutes, you gain 300 trophies on defense. There's very few Channel 14s, and you need a ridiculously high level of activity. So in weighing those two up for the Bronze League, say it's about even. Anyways, now we're going to talk about the armies that you'd apply to each league. Now, if you're in Masters or Crystal, we'll start from the bottom here. The best two armies, in my opinion, are Mass Sneaky Gobs, and they are Mass Miners. Now, the Mass Miners are good at gaining trophies, whereas the Sneaky Gobs aren't. So obviously, honestly, if you use the both of them in tandem, that's the best approach to farming. In Champions or Titan League, because you need to triple more bases, or often you need to triple the bases to get the loot, I would recommend either Queen Charge attacks, because obviously Wall Breakers and Healers and then Coco Loons are Elixir troops. Just any Queen Charge army. Queen Charge Baby Drag's not a bad call. Or E-Drags, and it's the same sort of thing for Legends, except instead of Queen Charge Baby Drag, you do something like Queen Charge Miner to use Elixir, because I haven't actually talked through this yet, but I have used this in the past. As you can see, we've got a ridiculous amount of DE to farm and not really much Elixir to farm. You can see the amount of Elixirs, 300 million. which honestly isn't that much. You'll be able to farm that if you're a hardcore farmer in a month, whereas that DE, 13 million DE, that's going to take me months to farm up, and I'm going to be using plenty of hammers on that. So because of this, you want to use high elixir armies. So like I said, the E-Drags, miners, healers, sneaky gobs, and all of that, all preferred. And that's why I suggested those armies for those leagues. Now, I'm actually going to show you a couple of attacks of my own with the mass miners to try and show you why I think that's the best army in the game. Okay, so this is the first replay I'm going to show you with the mass miners. As you can see, this has an insane amount of Dark Elixir, and it being the most important thing to farm at Town Hall 14, I was obviously going to go for it. But one of the things I like about mass miners is if this base had full collectors on the outside, literally what you do, and I'll show in one other raid after this, you just spam miners in a line around the base, and you can take all the loot and then leave, and you don't have to use any spells for that. It's quite cheap, honestly. It's no different to basically bringing a lot of sneaky gobs and sniping the loot. The only thing that the miners have over them is A, they can go through walls, but B, they're more likely to get a star so that you're not dropping ridiculously fast. Obviously, sneaky gobs are better in the sense that they train quicker, especially if you only use like 20 of them, and the elixir costs are cheaper. But like I said, elixir costs don't really matter too much at Town Hall 14, but the training time does. So ultimately, what I've heard some of my clan mates say is if you're trying to gain trophies in Crystal or Masters, the best way to do that is to use the mass miner and then just triple a couple of bases, because as you can see here, you can essentially, like, I did not try with this. I wasn't even trying to triple it. It just ended up being that we were going to triple it because it's so hard to kill the miners without the max Town Hall 14 defenses. So yeah, if you're trying to gain trophies, use the mass miner, and if you're trying to drop trophies, just use sneaky gobs. Now, the one downside of sneaky gobs is you have to spend 25k every 3 days to activate them, and that's honestly one of the reasons I lean for mass miners over sneaky gobs, but there's no real right or wrong way to do it. Look at this builder hut. It tried so hard, but really couldn't do anything, and I actually end the attack here, I think. I don't think I go for the triple, do I? No, I do. I clearly wanted the trophies, but as you can see there, we have so many miners up. We have all our heroes up, so that was really nice there. Not the strongest base in the world, but even if it was slightly stronger, we would have absolutely wrecked it. Okay, so just before we get into the last attack, I figured I'd show you all this. Look at all these DE storages I was able to snipe, and this is why I really like Masters and Crystal League. Like I said, Masters 2 is my favorite, but if I keep finding DE storages, I'm obviously going to drop down to Crystal 1 like I am at the moment. I would have farmed like 20k, if not more DE there in the space of 10 minutes whilst looking for a proper base to raid. And once I found one, it was that 11k one. But let's get into the final attack here. And have a look at this. This is one of the great examples why I prefer miners over sneaky gobs. Sneaky gobs, I don't think you would have got most of these storages here up on the top side. And as you can tell, there is actually a little bit of loot in some of these elixir storages, which is nice to take. And obviously, you wouldn't be able to, with the sneaky gobs, get this dark elixir storage. But because no, you probably could. You'd just use your heroes for it just the same. But you wouldn't be able to get both the DE storage and all the storages at the top. But I literally didn't use any spells in this. I just spammed miners in a line around the base. They nearly got the DE storage, but I just end up using my King, Queen, and Warden to take it out. And look at all the loot we get from this. It actually ends up getting a little hairy just going for this DE storage somehow. We just pop the Warden here to get the Queen in it. And then eventually take it down like that. And I didn't put any thought process into this. It was just spam in a line, and we got all of that loot. And this sort of loot is pretty consistent in champs, in Masters and Crystal, if you're wondering. So like I said, absolute best place to farm in the game if you've got the time to do so. And we'll jump out, and I'll just show you why the last reason that this army is awesome, and that's that army cost me 270k elixir and 0 DE, and it only takes 20-something minutes to cook. So if you're on boost, it's basically trained up by the time you get back, which is just perfect. Now, obviously, sneaky gobs are cheaper and less time, so you can evaluate the two of them. There's no right or wrong, but those are my recommendations. High activity, stay in Masters or Crystal. Medium activity, and you like tripling bases, Titans or Champs. And low activity, go to Legends League. Anyways, that's it for the entire Town Hall 14 farming guide here. I'm sorry if it was a little mess. It's kind of hard to just keep one idea set to one concept because it all interacts with each other. Anyways, if you've got any more questions that I didn't answer, like I said earlier, put them down in the comments and I will answer them all. And let me know if this helped you. And like I said earlier, if you want to get the base link, just down in the description there. Perfect. Thank you all for watching this much. I really appreciate it, and hopefully I see some of you soon.